Okay, we've started. So this is Eugene Panrudkovich. I'm the Director of Technology at Screen Surgeons in Tucson, Arizona. Today we have Dr. Colin Byrne, Director of Technology at Blind Brook, Rye Union Free School District in Rye Brook, New York. So it's mid-December 2017, and what's the weather like out there?
Well, it's getting cold. We had our first snowstorm this weekend, so it's definitely winter, definitely the holiday season. So we're good.
Got you. In Tucson, it's a perpetual summer. It's just a little bit cooler in the winter than in the summer. So right now it's in the mid-70s and dry. So
nice.
Yeah, good place to be right now. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about your job and your responsibilities?
Sure. Well, I'm currently the Director of Technology for the Blind Brook School District. That includes oversight of all the networking and equipment. So I have to handle all of the network design, all the maintenance of the equipment, all the planning. But I also have an educational piece where I have to work with teachers, not only in integrating technology, but also in developing curriculum that is focused on technology. So the computer classes, technology classes, those kind of things.
Sounds like a large job. Do you have people working for you, under you?
Right now, I just have a staff developer who helps me with the training piece. I have a company that we outsource our day-to-day help desk and server support and those kind of things. So we have people who do that. So there are a few people, but we are a small district, so it's minimal staff.
I see. And can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you arrived at your position?
Well, it's a long story. I'll give you the short version. I started as a math teacher, took on a job where I had to do some computers and technology, ended up having to take care of all the technology, left teaching and consulted for a while. I was Microsoft certified and did networking support, but I missed the teaching realm. So came back and found a job where I did some teaching and also did some facilitation of technology. That grew into taking over as Director of Technology, and I've been here for, I've been in the district 15 years. This is my 10th year as the director.
Oh, sounds great. Just out of curiosity, can you tell me where you got your PhD from?
I got it from Pace University. They had a program, it was actually called a DPS program, Doctorate in Professional Studies. And mine was a focus on technology and education, really computers and education.
Okay, so sounds like the perfect job. How many Chromebooks do you have deployed in your district right now?
We have about 1,000 altogether. They're deployed at different areas. We do have a one-to-one program that's currently running from grade 7 to grade 11. So every student in those grades has their own Chromebook. We also have Chromebook carts for 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd grades.
And how long have you been deploying Chromebooks?
This is our 4th year. Yeah, 4th year.
So you're pretty deep into it, and you must have several different models. What are the Chromebook models that you currently have deployed right now?
So we started with Acer Chromebooks. We had the Acer 710s and 720s that we started with. Got a few of the C740s, but those we found some issues with them just in terms of their factory build. We had a lot of issues with motherboards and screens, so we ended up transitioning 2 years ago or a year ago to Dell. Last year we started using the Dell 11 Chromebooks. Which are very solid and much more reliable. This is our 2nd year with them. They have the new model out, so we're using the new model. But that's where we're at really right now. I think we're focusing on the Dells right now.
And do you have any of the touchscreen Dells deployed?
Not too many, really. We had 1 or 2, but I just right now, unfortunately, where Google is with their touch compatibility, their tools really aren't designed for it. So I see limited use for it on those models. So I really haven't invested in it. It'd have to take a really a big move on Google's part to make their tools more interactive with a touchscreen to make the difference in that.
I see. Yeah, the replacement parts for touchscreen models are quite a bit more expensive, but I do see right now all the Chromebook vendors introducing touchscreen models.
Mhm.
If Google does have additional tools for it, do you see a use for it in the classroom?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's something that we're considering moving away from the Chromebook model and into more of the low-end tablets or Windows tablet devices, just because some of the teachers, especially in the math and the science areas, uh, find the Chromebooks to be limited in terms of what they can do with them. A lot of their work is either diagram based or table based, or they need kids to draw or write or work in math or diagrams. And right now, with a standard keyboard, it's very difficult to do with a keyboard and mouse. So we're really looking for something where teachers can draw, or kids can draw, write, create. So I'd love to have a touchscreen device. If the Chromebooks could be it, that would be great. It's just, as I said, I really haven't found a good tool to use with the Chromebooks that would make that transition.
I see. The iPad Pro is very visual with a pencil. Do you foresee being used for that application?
We looked at iPads originally when we looked at going to one-to-one. We visited some schools that had iPads, and we did get a set of iPads. The iPads definitely are great in terms of their interactivity in that piece. The problem that I have with iPads is that they're so segmented in terms of the apps. Just the teachers who have used them, they need so many different apps to do what they want to do, whereas some of the other web-based tools that we have allow an easier transition between the pieces. It just seems kind of clunky and difficult for students to manage, and you have to know so many different things and have so many different things running.
Mhm.
So we haven't really moved in that direction.
I see. How about the Microsoft Surface Pro solution?
Surface Pros are great. We've looked at those for teachers. I'm actually changing the dynamic, which a lot of teachers, I think, around the country, a lot of schools around the country are doing, from the whole smart board projector model to an interactive um, flat panel screen with the Surface Pro. The teachers using the Surface Pro with a wireless connection.
Mhm.
That's been great. The Surface Pros work great. The problem is the price point on those is high. Can't really make the jump from a $250 Chromebook to an $800 Surface Pro for students. So we're looking for something in the middle.
So that's pretty expensive. So if you had the Surface Pro maybe half to a third the price, that would be a really good solution, and I assume to other schools also.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
All right. Now, getting back to Chromebooks. When the screens are broken, what are the typical ways they break?
I wish they knew. I knew exactly what they were doing, but I think a lot of it is transport. I think the students have a lot of things in their backpack, and they end up cramming the Chromebook in with the rest of their stuff. And we try to get cases and padded cases and all that, but I think after a while, there's only so much stress they can take, and they break.
It still doesn't
Plus, the
work.
way that students carry them, sometimes I see the students in the hallway, especially the middle school students, they have a stack of books that they're carrying, and in that stack somewhere is their Chromebook. So sometimes it's just the pressure of the other things that they're carrying just totals the screen.
So they treat their Chromebooks like a book, and of course, a book is more sturdy. Other than the screens, what other types of issues do you usually have with Chromebooks?
Well, as I said before, with the Acers, there was a problem with the motherboards being
Mhm.
flaky, so we've had to do a lot of motherboard replacements. There's been a few issues with the SIM card, but not a ton. I've had some touchpads that I had to replace. Sometimes the touchpads just go out. Those are the major ones. With some of the Dells, the new Dells, the charging port I've had to replace on a couple of them.
Yeah, interesting. Charging ports used to be a big problem with laptops because they were soldered to the motherboard and they would just come off after a while. But it looks like it's still a problem.
Yep. With the new Dells, though, it's nice. It's actually a separate component they have, which is it's a nice option to be able to swap that out if you have a problem.
So you can just swap that out in about 10 minutes or so.
Right. Yep.
All right. Actually, that would be a good thing to make a video for us. We will take that on.
Okay.
All right. If you had one thing you could tell the kids' parents that have the Chromebooks, what would it be?
Well, of course, take care of it. It's a great device and it will serve you well, but you have to take good care of it and be careful with it. But also, I would say just, explore on it, try things. The great thing about where we are today with technology is there's so many resources that are web-based. You don't have to worry about installing things. So, look for things that you can do through a Chromebook, which is much faster in many ways than a regular computer. But look for web-based resources and see if you can work off the web.
And do you have any sort of restriction software set up on the Chromebooks?
We do use a program called Go Guardian, which allows us to monitor and restrict some of the access the student has. It's been very helpful for us, especially when the devices go home, so we can keep an eye on things and remind students that even though they are home, this is still a school device and you still have to use it appropriately. There hasn't been anything too extreme, but there's a few YouTube videos that we would prefer students not be watching, especially on our devices.
And does that prevent them from exploring fully to their potential?
No, not at all. It's pretty flexible. We can even set times when certain things are restricted, so that way they have filtering at school and filtering at home if we want to give them a little more freedom when they're at home. But it really hasn't been a problem that I've seen. The students and teachers have been able to do what they want to do or need to do.
All right, and if you had one thing that you can tell the makers of the Chromebooks, what would it be?
I would say, have students test your devices. I've seen a lot of devices come out where vendors claim that they are rugged and that they'll hand up student damage, and it's surprising where the damage shows up. For example, the Dell Chromebooks are much more sturdy than the Acers, but I've noticed a lot of damage on the hinges now, or on the back part of the Chromebook, where there really isn't a lot of padding. So, I would just say, just get a kid in, have them use it, carry it around for a couple of weeks and see what they come up with.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Dell Chromebooks, they don't open too far, so that might be a problem. So they're scissoring them, and that could be causing damage to the hinges.
Yep, definitely. That could be it.
All right, I think that's all the questions I have. That wraps it up. And if you don't have anything else to add, we can stop right here.
No, I'm good. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Byrne, and have a good day.
All right, take care.
Mm-hmm.